remembering that there are so many countries across the world where homosexuality is still criminalized, punished, people are discriminated, tortured, and prosecuted. In Mahabharata, a character called Shikandi. And it's because of Shikandi that the Pandavas win the Mahabharata. Generally, parents to start celebrating that, hey, I have a gay son, or your lesbian daughter, or a trans child. We are far away from this. Hi, this is Onir, and you're watching me on ETimes. Stay safe. Happy Pride Month.
Hi, Onir. Welcome on ETimes. It's good to have you on ETimes YouTube channel and talk about some important topic. First of all, how is the lockdown going on for you?
It's lockdown fatigue, but right now, generally, because it's opened up a little bit. I am traveling from tomorrow, so I'm happy that I'm finally, getting out and getting to travel and do some work. So yeah, looking forward to that.
That's nice to hear. And also during this lockdown, a lot of things have happened. But at the same time, the very, very important topic I want to talk to you about is the Pride Month. You have always raised your voice regarding this. So to give feedback, a lowdown about this, what are your views on it?
I just feel that Pride Month is important for the community, especially because it is about reminding everyone that how difficult and how long this struggle for equal rights, which should have been anyway a part of our rights right from birth, has been for the community world over. And also to keep remembering that there are so many countries across the world where homosexuality is still criminalized, punished, people are discriminated, tortured, and prosecuted. And the world is still a far way, it's still far away from being an equal place. Having said that, this is also not only reminding us of the struggles that we have had to achieve what we have, and not just to remind us that the struggle is also an ongoing process, but it is also celebrating our lives, our loves, our history. So this month is important to keep claiming what should have been ours from day one.
There have been few friends of mine who, are transgenders, and they have personally faced harassment on their WhatsApp group, and they have spoken about it. They say that, they try to be vocal about being a gay or a lesbian, but at the same time, the society fails to understand them. But there are certain people who have, their families have accepted and welcomed, them being, transgender, be a gay or be a lesbian. So what do you have to say on that? What are your thoughts on that?
One is, of course, being trans and being lesbian and gay are different things, and there are all kinds of trolls that happen, especially I feel the trans community faces much more trolls than someone who's gay or lesbian does. Having said that, I feel that in today's world, people face that because of caste, because of religion, because of gender. So it is, of course, we are doubly discriminated, but we should also, sometimes it's also important to keep seeing what's happening around. And if one looks at our own surrounding and see how, caste, class, troll is just, you can just block that person. But what people actually feel physically, how people are discriminated, humiliated, attacked, all over the country. And that's why I constantly believe that when one is talking of queer rights, you cannot be isolated. You have to be an equal participant in all other human rights. Your voice can't be silent when it comes to be it discrimination about caste or religion, or because if you're a minority wanting your rights, in a very patriarchal, majoritarian society, you have to be the voice of all the minorities. And similarly, all the other minorities also need to. I mean, I feel that's very important for each of us to understand that our struggles are not isolated, and combined strength is much greater.
Since you spoke about it, about gays and lesbian being different from transgenders, could you please explain and elaborate on this?
Transgender is a gender. Gender and sexuality are two different things. So when you are gay, you are a man.
Hmm.
If you're a lesbian, you are a woman, and trans is quote unquote, some people, these days, of course, there are so many definitions. If you say it, at one point it was called the third gender, and then there is this discussion that who decides that men are first gender, women second, who decides the third? It's just different forms of gender. So trans is gender identity, whereas sexuality is sexual identity, which is different from gender identity. But of course, we all come under the umbrella of being queer, LGBTQI.
Also, I wanted to share you one of the chapters in my life where I was a kid, and one of my relatives was a transgender, and when he lost his life due to cancer, he was being buried in the night because it was a saying that they cannot be buried or burned in the morning. And these are the kind of maybe an orthodox mentality, I would say, but these are the kind of things. Would you like to throw some light on this? What do you have to say on that?
Honestly, I'm not as what you call literate about the trans community to know. But having said that, I don't know the details. A trans person would be much more the right person to answer that. But having said that, I feel there are all kinds of prejudices, myths around the trans community, and that is also, because of the way they've been very often portrayed in media, that they're scary, they kidnap kids, very often children are were told, that stay away from them. They will, they kidnap kids, small kids. So the trans image is very often used in storytelling to small children instead of teaching them how to accept. They're told how to be afraid of this community. But one forgets that if we really go back to history, and one of the oldest literature in the world that recognizes a trans character is in Mahabharata, a character called Shikandi. And and it's because of Shikandi that the Pandavas win the Mahabharata. You know, he is they is the brother of brother. No, not I can't say brother because it's a trans. They is the sibling of Draupadi and uh, her other brother. So the third sibling who is trans, and because of him, Mahabharata. I keep saying him because of Mahabharata is one. So we have in our history a very, very important character in our literature who is respected, who has, of course, his angst too, But throughout literature, we have many characters who are gender fluid, you know. And I think that is something that we need to constantly refer back, that as a society, we were not always homophobic or genderphobic.
Also, do you see some changes and development in India after the section, Article 377 was passed? Do you see that people are accepting and people are welcoming, and the homophobia is not as much like before? Do you see that change?
I think acceptance, obviously everything won't happen overnight. Welcoming is still distant. Acceptance, if, for example, today, because it's legalized, of course, the community is no longer so scared of asserting one's identity. So many more people are willing to come out and be themselves because they are no longer treated as criminals. And that's a huge, huge step. Having said that, legal acceptance and social acceptance are two different things, and it will take a while for the society to, embrace, and it'll take a very, very long time for generally parents to start celebrating that, hey, I have a gay son, or lesbian daughter, or a trans child. We are far away from this. So right now we are just talking about accepting, not even celebrating. And many spaces, like, because corporates, different spaces have now in their mandate inclusiveness. So some of it is also, one has to do it because otherwise it's politically incorrect. Today, for example, once a year, every publication, everyone will wake up that, okay, it's Pride, let's do something. But this has to go beyond the Pride month. Of
Hmm.
course, Pride month is important, like I said, but empowering the community, the voice of the community, has to be a year-long process, because for too long have we been silent, for too long we have been invisible. And to make that change, the efforts have to be much, much, much more large.
That's nice to hear from your end. You also shared about feeling lonely because you don't have a partner right now. Uh, does that somewhere make you feel that, maybe it's a long journey, or are you not attracted to someone? You also spoke about it in a recent interview with us only. So could you say on that?
I feel that, that's something that is because of the society one lives in, because very often you realize that maybe uh, the person you're attracted to, which happens to me all the time, is not open, or is not willing to make that step, you know.
Hmm.
And that makes relationships difficult for a lot of people from the queer community, because their partners, or who they want to have a relationship with, might not be as open as they are, So it is the entire environment that does not allow relationships and loves to flourish. So you will find a lot of people from the community not being able to. And we're all hoping that if the Supreme Court on 6th of July recognizes the same sex marriage act, if that comes into play, then I think again you will see a lot more people, because when they are validated, there is secure about partnership, recognized about it, then many more people will feel empowered to come out. So I feel, yes, it is difficult for a person like me, not only because, like, when you're out and proud, someone being with you is always scared that, oh, just being with me means outed, without that person actually being
That's true.
open.
That's true.
And apart from it, also, what happens is, when you're in a certain position in the industry, you realize that very often people want to be a part of your life, not because who you are as a person, but
Stupid.
what you to an industry which is very sought after. Everyone desires to be a part of this dream world. Then you realize that very often people who want to be with you are not necessarily wanting to be with you for who you are as a whole person, but only because of who you represent in this industry, what you might, uh, so, though I of course love my profession and I am what I am, but that's not the complete me. It's just, one aspect of me, and the various aspects. And I would like to be loved for all those. Of course, I want to be loved as a director, but I don't want to be loved because I am a path to a destination. I'm okay to being if the destination is love and relationship, but not if it is something about, your career or your other goals,
That's nice to hear. You also said like your family is quite open about it. They have never restricted you. There are many people out there who are not as lucky, when they try to express. There are some people who have been abandoned by the families. There are some people who feel like giving up. There are some people who find it very difficult to open up, and that depression causes them, like, to have thoughts of, committing suicides and all. Do you somewhere feel that this pressure which is there is somewhere, putting a lot of pressure on the young generation who wants to like express and come across as a lesbian or as a gay?
I feel that sometimes maybe, it's good to be realistic and know one's surrounding. So when I was, when I was finishing my college and of course, I was again fortunate that, very early in life, I got scholarship and I went to Germany to study where I could just explore myself very freely without anybody being around to monitor, you know. But also, I made it a point to start earning very early in the day to be financially independent, And I feel that people in India, especially youngsters, depend too much on their parents for financial support. Till a much longer, they expect gaadi bhi kharid denge papa, ghar bhi bana denge, bank balance bhi bana denge. And I'm like, where does that sense of entitlement come? Because I've seen my father make it on his own. And since a very early age, all of us siblings, we started earning and supporting ourselves. And I feel that if youngsters, of course, explore your sexuality, but parallelly also think about what is your life's goal in terms of a career. Find your own, the minute you are independent, then you are not so scared. Because half the people are scared because I won't have a house. It's okay if you don't get married or if you don't, if the condition is okay, it's important, but you can be open to people who will not react. I mean, after a certain age, you can make out, who are true friends. And with your family, if you feel they're going to be aggressive, hold on, become independent, and then if they do not accept you, I feel that sometimes we put too much importance to this idea of family. What is family if there is no love? How do you value a family that does not value you for who you are? Then you can create your own family with the friends that you have who accept you, who celebrate you. You can hopefully, right now, unfortunately, there's been this law in the recent years where, uh, same sex couples cannot adopt children, but I hope soon that law also changes, and so you can have your family, you can adopt so many beautiful children who are abandoned, who don't have homes, and also provide them a home, because there are a lot of same-sex couples who want to be parents, who have that beauty and love in them to be able to raise a child beautifully. So I feel that the focus also is, it's very, very important to realize, yes, this is important. Don't be ashamed, be proud of yourself, but you should also nurture your other qualities which will help you, you know become independent. Again, this is more difficult for people, for those who are from the trans community, because there is so much of attack, mentally, physically, every which way, when you are, in those growing up years, when you want to assert your gender, so it's not, it's more difficult for them when it comes to being able, because, it's difficult to find the right education, the right job. For trans, it's much more the kind of, people are really cruel. Why do you have to humiliate and uh, make someone feel so terrible just because that person's gender is different from yours? What gives you the right? Probably that person is much more beautiful than you are as a person. And your hatred just shows how ugly you are, that you are mocking another person who is a gift of God, to this planet. That form is also a gift of God.
Very true of what you said. Before I let you go, what are the upcoming projects you are working on, and what kind of films are you focusing on currently?
Right now, I'm like really, like tomorrow I'm going to Kashmir because I'm going on Recce for my next film, which is called We Are, which is a sequel to my 2011 film I Am. And this time, this film will be celebrating queer lives and queer loves. Four stories set in four different parts of India, which celebrates same sex. Basically, I won't even call it same sex love, queer love. You know, and because our lives is not only about struggle, it's about emotions, it's about beauty, it's about celebration, and this is what I want to do with this film.
Quite nice to you, and the kind of films you have made have also, like, always attracted the audience. So what kind of, perception do you put when you're working on a project? What is your personal choice?
Anything that moves me personally, where I feel that the journey of making the film will make me a better person, will make me know the world around me better, and will maybe also help me know my humanity better, understand. So I'm an extremely selfish filmmaker. For me, my growth as a human being, as an artist, is most important when I'm making a film.
That's quite nice to you, and all the best for your projects. And I hope once lockdown gets over, I get to meet you and we do a full-fledged interview. Nice
Pleasure.
talking.
Nice
Thank you.
talking to you.